We must share a commitment to facts. Misinformation will not go away. It may only get worse. Today represents a ringing endorsement for truth and for democracy.
And believe the evidence brought to light through this case underscores the consequences of spreading lies. Truthful reporting in the media is essential to our democracy.
The consequences of spreading lies. Fox News will pay more than $787 million to the Dominion voting machine company. Just last week, the judge sanctioning Fox for withholding evidence, recording from a former staffer between Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani and host Maria Bartiromo.
I'm going to be asking you for as much evidence as you can tell us about these lawsuits. Whatever you can tell us in terms of evidence would be really helpful. Okay, great.
I can tell you exactly what we have.
Perfect. And what about this software, this Dominion software?
That's a little harder
troubling
to tell you. Right, it's being analyzed right now. I mean, there are a couple of races that have been reversed because the Democrat was triple counted, two already in Michigan. Now, whether that applies to the whole state or not, I can't tell you yet.
This Dominion software, does Nancy Pelosi have an interest in it?
I've read that. I can't prove that.
I can't prove that. Under oath in a deposition, Fox chief Rupert Murdoch admitting some hosts endorsed the election lies. We saw Sean Hannity admitting under oath he did not believe Trump's election lies for 1 second. And text messages between Tucker Carlson and Laura Ingraham. Tucker writing, Trump lawyer Sidney Powell is lying, by the way. I caught her. It's insane. Ingraham responds, Sidney is a complete nut. No one will work with her. Ditto with Rudy. Yet they gave airtime over to her.
A lot of the machines, particularly by the Dominion company, in which Dianne Feinstein and Nancy Pelosi hold interests, along with Mr. Soros has a connection to that as well. They actually have a Chinese software or parts in them.
Joining me now is Symone Sanders Townsend, host of MSNBC's Symone, and Juanita Tolliver, political strategist and host of Crooked Media's What a Day podcast. What a day indeed. Symone, what does this all mean for Fox, for conspiracy theories? Where do we go from here?
Well, look, Alicia, I was listening to the conversation of the panelists in the A block, and I think it's very important whether or not Fox admits fault, doesn't admit fault. I encourage people to go and read the statement that Fox put out. They talk about journalistic integrity, and my eyes got very big at that point. I think the reality is the text messages, the depositions, whether they admitted fault or not, we know that they knew because they told us in their own words. And I think that going forward, every entity that enter the media apparatus, politicians, campaigns, they have to now decide how they are going to engage with Fox News going forward. During this entire debacle where the lies are being spread heavily, where they started in November, right after the election, I worked for the transition. I was an advisor on the Biden-Harris transition team. And I remember watching how this was all unfolding, the random press conferences, the egregious assertions, and how mainstream Republicans who didn't necessarily agree with President Trump, who did not believe the lies, did not speak up. That needs to change.
Yeah, we need to speak to that point. I mean, this was bigger than just Fox News.
Bigger than Fox News. And honestly, I think with this settlement, we're going to be walking into even a bigger political minefield where disinformation, which we know the general electorate has struggled to suss out truth from lies, is going to be even worse in the future. I definitely disagree with what Nick said about Fox learning their lesson at all. But the reality is you're going to need a lot more people beyond candidates and their campaign teams calling out this lie, and holding Republicans accountable for their silence is going to be a key part of that for the media to include. But let's be real. That Fox statement also said they recognize the court ruling that they might have said something untrue about Dominion. They didn't take any responsibility here. They didn't step up and take any accountability here. And what I fear is that we are in for a deluge of even more disinformation coming out, because what they have now is evidence that all they have to do is write a check $787 million was the number this time, but that'll be just part of their cost-benefit analysis when they choose whether or not to lie again in the future.
Okay, Juanita, but that number is nothing to sneeze at. That is a big number. I mean, Simone, to Juanita's point about whether or not they have learned their lesson and, managing our expectations here, Jean Pirro was a potential witness in this case. She was on their air in the last hour. So an anchor complicit in the alleged defamation on TV. I mean, that would seem to me to speak volumes.
I think you are absolutely right. It speaks volumes. Fox is undeterred by what happened here externally. Internally, I think their shareholders, if I had Fox stock, honey, I'd be concerned this evening. $787.5 million. That's $750 million. That is just 75% basically of what Dominion was originally asking for. Shareholders were concerned about that. Someone at Fox is going to have to answer for this. I highly doubt, though, it will end up being talent. There were many reports, there's New York Times reporting on it that talked about a fall person, if you will, could be one of the executives, not Rupert Murdoch, but, the person that was interacting with the talent whose job it was at Fox News to parse out if what they were saying was true or not. I think the lesson here going forward is the truth does matter. It is very important to speak plainly, to speak with facts, and when someone is lying, to call it a lie and show your work as to why that is.
Juanita, that is a lesson we wish we did not need. Listen, this case was about Dominion. The consequences, the ramifications of this, much bigger than Dominion. There are people who not only have lost their faith in this particular election, they lost their faith in elections writ large. I mean, you and Simone are both seasoned campaign veterans. You know that when you're on the campaign, you were out there with a message about your candidate. You were out there with a message about your platform. There is now the added component that campaigns are going to have to persuade certain segments of the electorate that there is integrity in their vote and that their vote will count, even though there is no actual proof dispositive of that. They will be working against this current of disinformation, and that makes the work of people whose job it is to turn out voters, to engage more people in our democracy, all the more complicated.
All the more complicated, and I think Democrats have been explicitly clear. And remember, their closing messages of the midterms, when President Biden went out there and explicitly said, this is about our democracy. This is about protecting that key pillar of our society and reinforcing it with your vote. That was a key message from Democrats throughout the 2022 midterms. And I think it's going to be something that we are going to hear on a consistent drumbeat, because that's who lost today. Our democracy lost.